I'm Hannah, and today, as you can probably tell by the title of this video, I'm going to talk about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome because May is EDS Awareness Month. I don't know if you know that or not, but basically there's this cool tag called "This is my EDS" that I'm going to try out and see how it goes. So I'm going to probably be reading from the list because I can't remember all of the questions, but we'll see how my answers are, I guess. So question number 1. What is my EDS type? So I'm diagnosed with hypermobility type EDS, so that's type 3. Question 2, how am I feeling today? I'm feeling like fatigue. It's a bit more than tired. I'm having to really push myself to get up. My body just feels like it wants to slump, sort of thing. I've got like my normal kind of level of pain, and my back and hip are playing up a bit, but nothing too bad. I had a hip dislocation yesterday night, so that's still a bit dodgy, but that's fine, you know. Question 3. What is EDS? Basically, EDS stands for, like I've said, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and that is basically where there's a faulty collagen, so your collagen isn't produced right in your body, and that basically acts as the glue in your body. So basically the structure and the glue isn't quite there. That's how I would describe it. So everything is then loose. So your collagen kind of makes up 90% of, not a high percentage of things, so like your organs and your like blood vessels are also more lax, and your ligaments and tendons and connective tissue, so everything is looser, and it means like joints can dislocate easier and things like that. What is EDS like? I guess the way I describe it, if I had like a thought of what it could look like, I kind of think of making a stick man with marshmallows and spaghetti, like thin spaghetti, and obviously if you have marshmallows they will just kind of start to collapse and things like that because they're too lax. That's how I see it, as like my connective tissues are like the marshmallows trying to hold everything together, so they just slide and there's not that kind of solid structure, I guess. Yeah, I'd just say that it's the whole structure. EDS is just being too flexible. It's not always bad to be too flexible, but it's just how it can maybe affect you and how everything else is affected. So things are just too loose in the body and doesn't have that glue. Okay, so this might be a bit longer. My symptoms, or like other conditions related to my EDS, which is quite common with a lot of people with EDS, there's kind of multiple. So what I can think of right now, things like I have POTS, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. That's caused by my EDS because blood vessels are too loose, and it basically means that my blood pressure drops and my heart rate works very high, so it causes tachycardia and I end up fainting or getting very dizzy. I have psychogenic non-epileptic seizures. So non-epileptic seizures are minor tonic-clonic, so they look exactly like epilepsy, but they're just not caused by the same thing. I also have alopecia, but that's not really linked to my EDS. I mean, my immune system's pretty crappy, which can be sort of linked to, I guess, my whole health. Also with EDS, that means my joints dislocate multiple times a day. I literally have full dislocations, especially on my shoulders, multiple times. I have like my I have a lot of subluxations, which are like partial dislocations. I have about 5 or 6 dislocations or partial a day. I mean, they kind of, I have a bit both. Yeah, so a lot of dislocations for me is a big thing. A lot of chronic pain. There's like muscular pain, but there's also like joint pain. I feel like sometimes there's sometimes burning to it. I mean, I have flat feet. My arches are completely collapsed, and so I get a lot of burning through that. And like right now I've got like burning pain going up my back, and I think that's just where my muscles are getting too tired and I want to just kind of slump. So yeah, just pain is a big thing. I have a lot of anxiety, so anxiety is another thing I struggle with. Oh yeah, I have gastro issues, so I have something called gastroparesis, which is partial or full paralysis of the stomach. Mine's like what would be classed as partial, so basically digestion is really slow through my stomach. And then I also have intestinal dysmotility, so they did a test, they did two separate tests basically, and they found that everything moves way too slowly through my whole digestive system, so the muscles and the nerves aren't contracting like they should. So yeah, it makes everything slow. Also, I've got like prolapses and things like with my bladder and my bowel, and that's all from being too loose. I have a hole in my heart, and I've had something called pericarditis and pericardial effusion. Basically, I've had like fluid around my heart, and I've had inflamed heart, things like that. Some of it can be like separate, but obviously I think having bad health, it kind of can roll into one. Sorry, my back's hurting right now like this. Also with EDS, like the main things are like easy bruising as well, and chronic fatigue, chronic pain, migraines and headaches. What else is there? Stretchy skin is quite a big thing. Yeah, like I've said, a lot of it is pain. It's like muscle pain, joint pain, because everything is kind of struggling to be held together. I have depression and anxiety and things like that. I don't think that's really my EDS, but it does cause things. So like my anxiety causes me to have seizures if I get too worked up, things like that. But yeah, there's like long-term ongoing things that can be caused as well, like arthritis, osteoporosis, things like that. But at the moment, touch like wood, I haven't really shown signs of that. I have had, mainly for me, it's my joints, my gastro system and my autonomic nervous system, which is what causes my POTS. They're my main three big issues, along with my seizures, which are caused by like my anxiety and things. So yeah. How does EDS affect my daily life? It pretty much affects everything in your daily life. I mean, it's hard. Sometimes people might see it as you are constantly going on about your health, and I completely understand that, but it is almost like if you've constantly got someone like tapping you on the back and really niggling at you like that constantly, you're always like automatically just going to mention it or bring it up. And so yeah, some people it could be quite trying because it is all the time sort of thing. But yeah, it affects my daily life because things like my joints come out and so easy, and everything is so loose, it means that it's very hard to do even simple things. So when like I make a cup of tea, I can't really make a cup of tea and pour a kettle even when it's not very full, because that motion dislocates my shoulder and it can dislocate my wrist as well. So I can't make a cup of tea for people, which is quite annoying. I kind of use the automatic where you press them rather than pour. Things like reaching, if you reach, it can cause your joints to come out, and it also for me causes my POTS to get worse. So if I'm like reaching, things like that, I can pass out, and that can be daily. And I mean, if that happens, when I pass out or when I have a seizure, all of my joints dislocate. And so if I fall or faint and my joints come out, that's a big effect on my daily life because I can't get up again. I do relocate my joints, but it causes me so much pain. It obviously causes me more stress and more like upset and fatigue. But with the pain and with the joints, my muscles can then spasm as well, which is a big thing, is muscle spasms. And so I can kind of get stuck. I can't actually get myself up. I always need to make sure there's someone around so they can help me. Also things like I use a wheelchair a majority of the time now. When I'm at home, I try to walk around unless it's bad days. But out and about, I can't be standing too long, and I can't risk kind of falling, or my legs, if I go too long, I'm in pain and my joints come out all the time. So yeah, that's the biggest effect of my daily life, is having my joints dislocate, not being as independent. I'd say that's the main thing, is not being able to be as independent, because I can't just say, oh, I'm gonna go and cook something, because I can't lift a heavy pan, I can't make a cup of tea, so I can't boil anything that needs boiling. So yeah, it has a massive effect on daily life, and mainly in terms of, it means you, like for me, it stopped me being able to do as much as I want to. I really want to have a paid job, I really do, but people won't employ me. I'm not reliable enough. I end up in hospital too often. I end up having to be off sick really often. So that's a big effect on me, and also obviously not feeling up to doing that. So yeah, I might have to refilm some of this another time, because my back is really starting to hurt. But I want to see if I can do this. I use a wheelchair now, and I do have crutches if I need them, but I find either I can walk or I kind of need to sit down, sort of thing. But I do have orthotics too. I have quite a few braces, and although they say not to kind of rely on braces for too much, and I fully agree, they've had to give me some braces for things, because it's worse if I walk on the way that my legs were. Like my arches have completely collapsed, and so that's actually turned my knees and my hips inwards. So they've done insteps, and I'm now using DAFOs, and I think the next step on would be using AFOs if it's not working. But I want to try insteps again with some like supportive boots. So if anyone has any like advice for me to find some really supportive boots, then please let me know, because I mean, I'm looking in the summertime and it was like spring now, and it's impossible to find some. I have thought about Dr. Martens, but I would like them, but at the same time I'm not sure if it's worth paying the amount it is right now, in case I don't need them and then need a different size if I have braces. So yeah. So some of the questions are like, how often am I in hospital? I mean, I end up having to go to A&E quite regularly. I mean, since Christmas I must have been in over 10 times. I try not to. I try to really keep my care at home, but I've cracked open my head and things so often recently when my POTS has been so bad. I've had 7 staples in this side of the head, 5 in this side. I've had glue here. That's all since Christmas, and it's now May. So I've had to go in for that, and then obviously I've had some like bad seizures where I wasn't breathing properly, and I also had my joints that were playing up. And I don't go in for my joints, but sometimes, like I was in a shop and my hips had to come out because I ended up having a fit. My hips came out and I couldn't sit up to go in my wheelchair, so I had no choice but to go in. So yeah, I end up in hospital way too much, and it's not good for you. I mean, for me, I would much rather deal with things being at home, because when I'm in hospital I just get more stressed, and that doesn't help anything. I have to kind of rest after doing a lot of things. That's the most annoying thing. If I want to do something, I need to kind of think about how I want to be. So sometimes I'll rest before. If I want to go out for the night with my friends, I'll have to do nothing that day, and then the day after I will feel wiped out. So I need to make sure that I don't overdo things, because it's really hard if you're kind of doing things constantly, like normal day-to-day things. If you do things like day in a row, one thing after another, for me, would just wear me out too much, and it would literally wipe me out completely and just make everything worse. So obviously for me it has had a big impact on how I feel, in terms of course it would affect how someone feels. I mean, I don't think I've spoken to anyone that it hasn't at least made them fed up or upset them a bit. it has really made me, I don't know, it winds me up a lot. It really frustrates me that I can't do what I want to, and I can't be how I used to be, because I mean, I wasn't born completely unable to do things, sort of thing. And I'm not completely unable to do things, but you know, I wasn't born with so many limitations, and at the moment it feels that I've got a lot of limitations, and I don't like to stick by the word limitation, because I don't really give myself limits. I really want to try and do more than that, but sometimes my body physically puts a limit there, and I can't do something because my body won't allow it. So yeah, it can be really frustrating. So that's part 1. I might carry on with part 2, but it might be a separate video, so we'll see. But if I do a separate video, thank you for watching. I'm sorry if I kind of dragged on a bit, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. If you want to check out any more, feel free. Thanks. Bye.